when nothing seems to work. Your heart feels heavy, your problems feel endless, and even after trying everything, you still feel stuck. But the prophets of Allah also faced moments of fear, sadness, rejection, and difficulty. What made them strong was not wealth, power, or status. It was their connection with Allah through sincere dua. Imagine a supplication so powerful that it was recited by the greatest people to walk this earth. A dua of hope, relief, mercy, and miracles. And today, that same dua is available for you and me. If you recite it sincerely, consistently, and with full trust in Allah, your heart can change, your worries can ease, and your life can begin to fill with peace you never thought possible. There are people today who feel completely broken inside. They smile in front of others, but deep down they are carrying battles nobody knows about. Some are struggling with sadness, some with fear, some with financial problems, some with family issues, and some are silently crying because life did not turn out the way they hoped. Sometimes a person reaches a point where they feel they have tried everything. They spoke to people, searched for solutions, worked hard, stayed patient, yet nothing changed. And in those moments, the heart starts feeling weak. The mind becomes tired. Shaitan begins whispering that perhaps things will never get better. But this is exactly where the beauty of dua enters a believer's life. The prophets of Allah were the best of humanity, yet their lives were filled with tests. Many people think closeness to Allah means a life without pain, but that is not true. The prophets went through heartbreak, loneliness, rejection, fear, hunger, betrayal, and hardship. They cried. They felt pain. They faced moments where everything around them looked impossible, but what made them special was where they turned during those moments. They always turned back to Allah. Think about Prophet Nuh. For years and years, he called his people toward goodness. He was mocked, ignored, and rejected by the very people he cared about. Imagine speaking for decades and barely seeing results. Most people today give up after a few days of disappointment. But he kept going because his connection with Allah kept him strong. Then think about Prophet Ibrahim. He was thrown into a fire simply because he believed in Allah. Imagine standing in front of a huge fire while people gather to watch you burn. Yet his trust in Allah never disappeared. Allah protected him in a way nobody could imagine. Then look at Prophet Yunus. He found himself in complete darkness inside the belly of a whale, under the ocean, in the middle of the night. Can you imagine that moment? No people around him, no escape, no worldly solution. Sometimes in life, we also feel trapped in darkness. We feel stuck in situations we cannot control. But it was through sincere dua that relief came to him. Allah heard him even from the depths of the ocean. This teaches us something powerful. There is no place too dark for Allah's mercy to reach you. And then there is Prophet Ayub. His story touches every hurting heart. He lost his health, his wealth, and so much around him. Years of suffering passed, yet he never lost hope in Allah. He never allowed hardship to make him bitter. This is something many people struggle with today. When pain continues for too long, they become angry, hopeless, and spiritually distant. But the prophets teach us that patience is not about pretending pain does not exist. Patience is continuing to trust Allah even while our heart is hurting. One of the most beautiful things about the du'as of the prophets is that they were sincere. They did not speak to Allah with pride or arrogance. They spoke with humility. They knew Allah listens to every whisper, every tear, every silent pain hidden inside the chest. Sometimes people think they need fancy words for dua. They think they must speak perfectly. But Allah does not look at fancy language. He looks at the sincerity of the heart. There are people who only remember Allah during emergencies. The moment life becomes difficult, they suddenly begin making dua. But the prophets remembered Allah in every situation, in ease and hardship, in happiness and sadness. Their hearts stayed connected to Allah consistently. That is why when difficulty came, they already had a strong relationship with Him. Today, many of us struggle because we only turn to Allah after exhausting every other option. We try people first, money first, worldly solutions first, and Allah becomes the last option instead of the first. The amazing thing about sincere dua is that it changes the person before it changes the situation. Sometimes the problem remains for a while, but Allah gives strength inside the heart. Suddenly the person who felt weak becomes stronger. The one drowning in anxiety begins to feel peace. The one losing hope starts smiling again. This itself is a miracle. People often think miracles only mean dramatic changes happening instantly. But sometimes the biggest miracle is that Allah gives calmness to a heart that was once falling apart. There are also moments when Allah delays the answer to a dua, and this confuses people. They start asking, why is Allah not answering me? But the prophets teach us something beautiful. Delay does not mean rejection. Allah sees what we cannot see. Sometimes we ask for things that would harm us. Sometimes Allah delays because He wants us to grow spiritually. Sometimes He wants us to continue making dua because every moment of turning back to Him raises our status. Imagine how loved a servant becomes when they constantly call upon Allah day and night. Allah loves hearing the voice of a believer asking sincerely. This is why you should never stop making dua. Even if years have passed, never let Shaitan convince you that your situation is impossible. The same Allah who made fire cool for Ibrahim, who saved Yunus from darkness, who cured Ayub after years of pain, and who opened impossible doors for the prophets, is still the same today. Allah's power has not decreased. Many people today are searching everywhere for peace. They search in money, relationships, fame, entertainment, and distractions. Yet the emptiness remains. Why? Because real peace was never meant to come from this world alone. Real peace comes from closeness to Allah. When a servant raises their hands sincerely and speaks to Allah with honesty, something changes inside them. Even before the answer arrives, the heart begins feeling lighter. Sometimes a person thinks they are too sinful to make dua. They feel ashamed because of their mistakes. But remember, Allah is the most merciful. Shaitan wants people to feel distant from Allah, but Allah wants His servants to return to Him. No matter how many sins a person has committed, the door of mercy remains open. The prophets constantly taught people hope, not despair. And this is why the du'as recited by the prophets are so powerful. These were not empty words. These were words spoken during real pain, real fear, and real tests. They came from hearts completely connected to Allah. When you repeat these supplications sincerely, you are reminding yourself that your problems are never bigger than Allah's mercy. You are training your heart to trust Him even when life feels uncertain. And slowly, that connection with Allah becomes stronger than the fear, stronger than the sadness, and stronger than the pain you are carrying inside. There is something incredibly powerful about repeating a sincere dua every single day. Many people underestimate the effect that daily remembrance of Allah has on the heart. They think change only comes through major actions, dramatic moments, or huge sacrifices. But sometimes the biggest transformations begin with small acts done consistently. A simple supplication repeated every day with sincerity can slowly change the way a person thinks, feels, and lives. This is why the righteous people before us remained connected to dua no matter what was happening around them. We live in a world where people are constantly overwhelmed. The mind is tired from stress. The heart becomes exhausted from disappointment. Every day people wake up carrying worries about money, relationships, health, the future, and so many unseen struggles. Some are battling anxiety silently. Some are fighting sadness nobody notices. Others feel spiritually empty even though they appear successful on the outside. In the middle of all this noise and pressure, many hearts have become disconnected from peace. And the reason is simple. The soul cannot survive without remembrance of Allah. When a person recites a meaningful dua daily, especially one connected to the prophets, they are feeding their soul with hope again and again. Imagine starting your day by reminding yourself that Allah is in control. Imagine ending your night by placing your worries before Him instead of carrying them alone. Slowly, the heart begins to soften. Fear starts losing its power. Anxiety becomes lighter. This is not magic. This is the effect of sincere trust in Allah. The beautiful thing about repeating dua regularly is that it creates consistency in your relationship with Allah. Many people only make dua when life falls apart. The moment things improve, they become distracted again. But when someone builds the habit of daily supplication, they remain connected to Allah in both ease and hardship. That connection changes everything. A believer begins to feel that number. No matter what happens in life, they are never truly alone. There are people who wake up every day already feeling defeated. Before the day even begins, they are drowning in overthinking. They replay old mistakes in their minds. They fear what might happen tomorrow. They compare themselves to others and feel behind in life. Social media has made this even worse. People constantly look at the success, beauty and happiness of others while secretly feeling broken inside themselves. But repeated dua protects the heart from becoming completely consumed by these thoughts. It reminds the believer that their worth is not defined by worldly achievements. Their value comes from being a servant of Allah. Sometimes people wonder why certain individuals remain calm even during difficult times. It is not because their lives are perfect. It is because their hearts are attached to Allah. A person who remembers Allah regularly develops a different kind of strength. When problems come, they do not collapse immediately because their trust has already been built through consistent worship and dua. Their peace is not dependent on perfect circumstances. Their peace comes from knowing Allah is always near. This is why reciting a powerful dua daily can completely transform someone over time. The words begin affecting the heart deeply. At first, a person may repeat them out of habit, but eventually they begin understanding them emotionally. They start feeling those words. Their dua becomes real. Tears begin to come. Their conversations with Allah become more personal and sincere. There are moments in life when nothing makes sense. A person loses something they love deeply. A dream falls apart. Someone they trusted walks away. They pray for years but still do not see the answer they hoped for. During these moments, many people become spiritually weak because they only expected Allah to respond in one specific way. But repeated dua teaches patience. It teaches surrender. It teaches the heart to trust Allah even when the outcome looks different from personal expectations. And one of the greatest blessings of constant dua is that it protects a person from hopelessness. Shaitan loves making people feel that their situation will never improve. He whispers thoughts like, nothing is changing or Allah has forgotten you. But every time a believer raises their hands in dua, they are fighting those whispers. They are declaring their hope in Allah's mercy. Even when the eyes cannot see the solution yet, the heart continues believing. Sometimes Allah answers a dua immediately. Sometimes He delays it. Sometimes He gives something better instead. And sometimes He protects a person from unseen harm through that dua without them even realizing it. This is why believers should never think their dua is wasted. Every sincere supplication matters. Every tear matters. Every moment spent remembering Allah carries reward and wisdom. The prophets understood this deeply. They knew that dua was not just about asking for things. It was about building closeness with Allah. Today, many people treat dua like a transaction. They ask for something, and if they do not receive it quickly, they become frustrated. But true, dua is an act of worship itself. It is an expression of dependence on Allah. It is a reminder that human beings are weak, while Allah is the source of all strength. A person who recites a powerful dua consistently also begins noticing changes in their character. They become softer with people, more patient, more grateful, less arrogant. When your remembrance of Allah purifies the heart slowly, it removes hardness from inside the soul. Even the way a person reacts to hardship begins changing. Instead of panicking immediately, they turn back to Allah first. There are people today who have everything materially but still feel empty inside. And there are others with very little who still feel peace in their hearts. The difference is often spiritual connection. Wealth can buy comfort, but it cannot buy peace. Fame can bring attention, but it cannot heal the heart. Only closeness to Allah can fill the emptiness that people carry deep inside. This is why daily dua matters so much. It is not just words repeated by the tongue. It is nourishment for the soul. It is healing for the heart. It is light during dark moments. And over time, those few sincere moments spent remembering Allah every day can completely change the direction of a person's life. A believer may not notice the transformation immediately, but slowly they begin becoming stronger emotionally. Their trust in Allah grows deeper. Their heart becomes calmer. Their relationship with Allah becomes more beautiful. Even during pain, they begin feeling hope again. And perhaps this is one of the greatest miracles of sincere daily dua. Not only that circumstances can change, but that the heart itself begins changing in ways a person never imagined possible.